Welcome back to Adventure 82. As you can see, we're kind of where you left me when I walked off on you at the end of the last video. We're at Don Bridge. The bridge itself is just up on this path up here, which we'll go and have a look at in a minute. I apologise in advance, it may well be noisy, it's the main road. And then once we've had a look at the top half of the bridge, we'll then go through this way behind me and back onto the railway walk and continue our way up. And today we're going to finish at Blanches Banques, which is a add-on station which was put in primarily for the golf course, but I'll tell you more about that as we work our way up to the station. So let's get going.
Ow.
Right, so we're going to work our way up here. Like I said, we're going to have a look at the top of Don Bridge. It's still the school summer holidays, so to say I have company would be an understatement. We have this child, which you saw in the last one.
Hello.
We have Blade, which you guys will probably be familiar with by now. We also have lurking in the distance Erica and Lydia, because they tried to stay off camera.
Hello.
And Blaze. But anyway, let's go and have a look at this bridge. Right, so this is Don Bridge. The original entrance to the station would have been down these stairs here, and then you would have had your platform. It would have connected here just before the tunnel. If we come out here, I wonder how many people actually, now I'm thinking about it, walk along here every day and have no idea they're going over a train bridge. Right, so this is the bridge. You can see the granite walls here on both sides, and you can tell they've been here some time. If we look down, that's quite a good view. Actually reminds me of the beginning of Thomas the Tank Engine, if I'm honest. But that's a nice view down there. I'll give you a view of the other side if I can get across without becoming a flattened hedgehog. But yeah, I'll meet you across the other side. Give me a minute. Right, so we're now on the other side. As you can see, you've got Erica, Lydia and Blaze waiting for me over there. And if I rotate this around a bit more, I apologise, that's a bit quick, I'm trying to be slow. You can see this is the other side, and that's the view from the other side. This is your wall. The abutment's quite interesting as well, because it seems to be actually propped up. If we look down here, it's literally built into the bank. And it's like that on both sides, this side and the other one. So they've made the most use they can of the natural elements of what's here, which is quite cool. So what we'll do now is, if I turn this around, we'll go back over that way, down the stairs I showed you on our way up to the bridge, and we'll work our way over this side. And work our way up to Blanches Banques, and I'll tell you a bit more about that station and how it had an interesting role to play in the First World War. Right, so now we're down at the bottom, as you can see, and there's your bridge from down here. There's the wall where we just were up there, with the very advised saying the strangest thing for the kids there. It's been there since the 80s, I believe. And you can actually see the steam on the top of the tunnel there, from where the trains used to come through, because like I say, there was a section here where it was kind of two-way. Nice acoustics. Nice, like that. Right, we can also see, what you didn't realise, is that they've had an extension on. So this must have originally been a single bridge, and you can see here how they've added a bit on at the side there, which has been added in concrete. Now I don't know if that's actually been added as a new piece, or whether that's the bit that the Germans replaced in the First World War, because it looks like the original wall goes to full span, but the roof, as you can see, doesn't match. So if someone can enlighten me, I know there's many people out there who know far more about the occupation than I do. If you can enlighten us as to how that is, please write it down in the comments. That would be really useful. But so here we go, and you come out here. Right, so this is the other side. Sorry if the sun's actually messing with the camera there, but yeah, there's definitely been something altered here, because you've got a concrete lintel there, and I can't imagine that would have been the original bridge. Also looks like the wall for the bridge has been lengthened if you look from down here. So you can see, I don't know if you can on the camera properly, but you can see here the original topping stones, and then there's an extra section of wall here that clearly wasn't there originally. Anyway, that's enough about the bridge. Let's move further on up this way and see what's going on up here. Right, so as you work our way up to Blanches Banques, I do hope I'm pronouncing that right. It's horrendous to think that I've lived in Jersey for 40 years and I still don't know how to pronounce French. Anyway, as we work our way up here, I'll give you some bits of information about the station. There's not an awful lot on it because it was a late add-on to the station. It was added in the late 1800s. It was added on primarily for the golfers of Lemoy Golf Course, which is still very popular to this day. Interestingly, it played a role in the First World War. So during the First World War, there were prisoners of war kept over here in Jersey. They were kept in a camp that was built up by the golf course. So every evening an empty train would leave from St Helier, travel all the way up here. When it got to Darn Bridge, it would turn around, obviously, because we discussed in the last video there was a turning loop. It would then reverse up into Blanches Banques. It would pick up the prisoners of war, carry them down to the harbour. It would then sit at the harbour station. The harbour station we haven't covered because that was added in later on. If I can do that, I will do that for you. But it took them down there to the harbour station. It sat there whilst they did their evening's work, because they worked under the darkness, so they worked when everybody else was in bed. It would then pick them up at the end of the day. They'd all get back on the train, it would come back up here, it would turn around again at Don Bridge, reverse into Blanches Banques, drop them off, come down, and then it would pull it up and sit in the sidings at Don Bridge, waiting until the following evening. And it did that every year, every day, sorry, from I think it's 1917, I'll double check when I get home, all the way through to the end of the war in 1918. It took them to and from work. So that, with that said, I've also been told that there's also a piece of Blanches Banques platform left, which would be nice, because as we're aware, most of these haven't had platform or anything else, buildings, anything left, or quite a lot of them, so on this end. So be interesting to see if that's still there. But it was there apparently in 2008, so hopefully it's still there. In the meantime, we'll keep walking our way down here. If I find anything interesting, I will let you know. And yeah, I'll see you a bit further down this line. So as we walk our way down here, I thought it'd be nice to have a look at what's around here now, because I'm pretty sure a lot of this wasn't here. You've got the old housing estate here. Old to us, obviously. It was built in, like, I think it was like built in the 1960s, 50s. It's a combination there of Clos de Sablon and Kennevet Park. And on this side, this clearly, definitely wasn't here. This is the Kennevet sports area with a cycle track, etc., with obviously the car park there for people to come and use it. This is a very wide section, but you can tell the width of this was all the railway, because as you're walking down, even now, and even in the 60s, and they could have quite easily demolished them, and they didn't, you have our friends, the railway posts. So you're up against people's walls. So that shows you that this entirely was the railway. And if you look, that they've built it up slightly. It's not a massive drop in the grand scheme of things, you know. When you watch like Martin Zero or Adventure Me, you know, they're on railways that are much higher up than this, obviously, because they have their big giant viaducts. But still, the fact they've had to rise the level a bit is quite interesting. And they've maintained that level too. And the level is actually, if you can see in people's back gardens, which obviously I can't show you for obvious reasons, it's quite substantial. It's a good, like, I would say probably about 1.5 to 2 foot up to keep the railway level. So you can see here, look, signpost for cyclists. Also shows you our final destination, which is Corbière. We will be doing, or I will be doing, or trying to do anyway, for you, all 5 of the last stations today. You won't see them all today, because as you know the format, we do 1 station a video. So I'm hoping to video all these today, which will then give us our last 5 stations and complete the JR&T series. And then after that, I've been invited by a friend of mine to do a bunker tour at the weekend, so I'm going to be doing that for you as well. So that'll be coming soon, and he's going to do a few more occupation bunkers and stuff with me over the next few months going into the winter, to keep us going throughout the winter. And what I'm also hoping to do for you guys is then also, with his help, possibly start following the occupation railway, which is far more, I think, what a lot of you guys would like to see, which is, hang on, it's very strange, look at that for unusual concrete. That's very different to all the other posts. I'm being sidetracked. Yeah, anyway, I think that'll probably be more kind of like what you guys want to see. It's more kind of urban exploring. We have to climb into bushes and stuff to find bridges and stuff that aren't really there. I had a look the other day at one of them, and my foot sunk about a good 6 inches, I reckon, into the mud. So I reckon a dry day might be ideal for that or wellies. I'd be tempted to say waders in some areas, but I'm pretty sure I'd look like a plank in those, so I won't be doing waders unless I have to. But yeah, so this is, we're on our way now to Blanches Banques. Blanches Banques is right next door to what's now Lemoyne School. That school, not sure if the school was there actually. That's a good question. I'll find that out for you. I'll put it in the bottom for you, whether the school or not was there when the railway was. I don't think it was. I think the school was built in the early 1900s. So they might have been there at the same time, but I'm pretty sure the railway existed before the school. Also, I've had a few people ask me why, when I'm walking down here in these videos, I'm kind of walking off and the camera's on kind of an angle focusing off to one side. It's simply because obviously not everybody wants to be filmed, and with doing in public places like this, like with bicycles and especially children going past, I don't really want to catch something that people don't want me to film and get in trouble for it. So that's why the camera's off to one angle. I could point it straight down, and I do when I want to show you something or point out we're getting close to something, but otherwise I try not to, just so I don't upset anybody, basically. I've just found this, which I find quite interesting. Look at that. The Blanches Banques motor vehicles, motorcycles, horses and ponies are not, although they've not been scratched out, permitted on this land. Public, I don't know what it is, but public something committee. So that's been there a long time. I'm guessing, looking at the colouring of it, late 40s maybe, early 50s, but it's been here some time. I'm also wondering whether this here, and also there's one on this side, And another one going down here. If any of these were access paths to the station. These aren't listed. I've had a look. If anyone could shed some light on that, that would be really useful. But it looks to me, I think that that's just like a path down to a little woods, so I'd imagine that was an access path. These were, because they have a sign there, the brown one which we showed you there, that says that it's no motor vehicles, leads me to believe that quite possibly this was an access road. The other reason that leads me to believe it might have something to do with access for the railway back in the day, because is that as I'm just talking to you now, I've noticed our friend, the railway post, there, sitting all on his own in the grass. Probably been, I reckon, what the railways stopped in, what, the 1936, so he's knocking on the doors like 200 years, is that 200 years? Yeah, almost. 200 years since he's seen a railway. But I digress. 200? No, 100 years. I do apologise, my maths is horrendous. Right, we're actually a bit further down the road now. And I know basically what you're seeing now is bush, but if we look through this hole here, you can see this is the wood that path I showed you before went down to. And I said it probably isn't an access path. Erica has her own theory that thinks this is an access path, and I'm inclined, as we're walking down here looking at it, to agree, because it goes off on an angle off this way into the trees, which would meet up with the road slightly further up. So it might have actually been like a wooden forest access path, because as we know, when we see these like abandoned railway videos, nature takes back its land very quickly. So it might well be, actually. But it is just speculation. If anybody knows anything about that, do let us know. Because, right, you can tell we're now approaching the Blanches Banques site for two reasons. One, we're running thin on cyclists because not many of them come up this far. Two, there's a barbed wire fence because somebody really wants to keep you off their land. And three, the land in question I want to keep you off of is the golf course. And as I said primarily at the beginning, this station was meant for the golfers. So just up ahead here is the site of what was Blanches Banques station. It was a very basic station. It didn't do ticketing, there was no ticketing office, there was no building at all. It was literally a platform on this side for people to get off at, go to the golf course, get back on the platform, get on the train and go home with their golf clubs. That's all it was here for, obviously, apart from the time during the First World War when it was being used for moving prisoners to work. But yeah, now as far as I'm aware, I'm not a golf person, but as far as I'm aware, Lamoille Golf Course is a very popular golf course. I think last time I checked, someone was telling me it's got like a 3 to 5 year waiting list. Maybe someone in the golfing community can explain why you would wait 3 to 5 years to join a golf club. Like I say, I'm not a golfer, I don't understand that. But anyway, you can see, I suppose, why though. Because now we've got to the open bit here where there's less bushes and you can see clearly across. That is quite the site there for golfing. You've got your sea there as well. I don't know how well this comes through in the camera, but it's a nice view from here. And then you've got their clubhouse just over there between the trees. It's really quite a nice setting, I have to say. You can see why it's as popular as it is location wise. But yeah, so we're coming up now here to the Blanches Banques station, see if we can find this platform. Like we were saying before, obviously we're just almost at the station now, but you can see here how much they've had to build up the bank here, and I'm guessing that may have been an access path at some point before the house was there. But this is clearly not been used, this area of land, in a long time. It's very overgrown. And this post right out there in the field, I wonder what they're about. Anyway, so with the gold flag watching us, just there, see, looking a bit sad because nobody else is playing golf on his hole. We'll see if we can find the station. Like I said, right, this piece of elusive platform we've been hunting for, I found it for you. But before I do, what is this? I know it's German, because I can see the laid concrete, I can see the pipe sticking out the top. What is it? Now, Paul Whiteman, I know you watch my videos. If you can tell me what this is in the comments, and everybody else, that would be helpful. But I'll be buggered if I know what it is. But I'm curious to know what it is and why it's here. But yeah, if you do know, and I bet you do, and if you don't, you know someone who does, please put it in the comments. Right, so as you're aware, I just mentioned what the heck is this, and apparently these two, Charlotte and Blaze, have their own theories on what this is. So Blaze, what do you think it is?
I think it's a building, and the prisoners that were, some of them that were really bad, that wouldn't wait on the platform, would wait in here, and then they would be taken to the platform when the train got here.
Right, and Charlotte, what's your theory?
What I think is when they go up there on the train, then when somebody was trying to shoot at them, they would go in here and then shoot from there.
Right, so two very interesting theories. Paul Whiteman, like I said, if you are watching, I bet you probably know what this is. So please do tell us. And yeah, so with that in mind, let's go over here and show you what you've actually been waiting to see. Right, anyway, over here is what you've been waiting for. Well, this is where we are. The only piece of platform left on any of these stations by Corbière. There's not a hell of a lot left. There's this big chunk here, there's a bit up there which I'm going to show you as you walk up back up the railway walk end. But to think that everybody probably cycles past this because it's so hidden in the bushes, has no idea what it is, and that no train has stopped at this station for knocking on the door of 100 years. The prisoners of war from World War I used to stand here in the evening in 1917 waiting for a train to take them down to the harbour for them to do their prisoner of war work on the harbour, for it to bring them back up here again. Right, this truly is a case of one of the smallest stations, really insignificant station. Never had any buildings, never had a ticket machine, and it played one of the biggest roles that any of the stations in this entire line have played. It was involved in the World War, one of the smallest roles, and one of a smaller role in the World Wars because they were massive deals. But still, big job. It's still here, and nobody knows. On that note, I think that's a good time to leave you here at Blanches Banques I'll put some pictures in of the other bits of the platform for you at the end of the video. And I think that it's quite noble that this station is still here. So from me at Adventure 82, don't forget to like, comment and subscribe if you enjoyed this, and I'll see you in the next video when we're off up the road to the Lemoy station.